So today is about what is pH, what is alkalosis, what is acidosis, and the biggest question people keep asking me, should I drink alkaline water? It seems it's been so popular, so commercialized, so everybody's asking this question. First of all, there is a big confusion about what is actually pH. And it's very different when you're talking to your doctor, what doctor means by pH versus what nutritionist means by pH. And even if you're going to talk to different doctors, kidney doctor is going to be different from GI doctor, from the cardiologist, from the lung doctor. So we all mean something different when we talk about pH. But pH is one thing. It's a power. P stands for power of H hydrogen. And depends how active is your hydrogen, you're going to get this specific number. And so neutral is about 7. It's considered neutral for the world. And then everything toward the smaller number is going to be acidic, and everything up toward the high number is going to be basic. And it's actually like vinegar is going to be acidic, and then your bleach product is going to be basic. And this is how we define pH as a general. But what do we mean when we talk about pH regarding your body? So when you talk to the doctor and you talk about pH of the body, the most important thing that we all as the physician thinks is this pH of the blood. And this is the most absolutely constant number that you can ever possibly have. This is so rigid that if you move even 0.1, you end up in ICU. Point up both ways, you end up in ICU. Basically, if your pH is 7.25, you are in ICU. If your pH is 7.55, I'm really nervous that you're not going to make it. So this is, again, this is the most constant in our body. And that's what physicians are talking about when they're talking about your pH. And the whole body does everything to maintain blood pH between 7.35 and 7.45. And believe me when I tell you, you cannot change it yourself. This is impossible. No matter, like, you can drink alkaline water, you can drink vinegar. There is no way you can change this pH of the blood, because every other organ in your body will do absolutely everything to protect this pH, to protect this constant. So what does body do? Number one, the two most important organs are kidneys and the lungs. Lungs, if you start breathing fast, you can exhale CO2, and CO2 is what makes up acid. So the moment you have a little bit more acidity in your bloodstream, you're going to start breathing faster, and your lungs are going to excrete this acid. If you have too much alkalinity in your blood, your brain will suppress the respiration rate, so you're going to start breathing slower. Now, when you know this, you actually understand why yoga and all of the breathing technique and breathing meditation are so important, because you can alter body composition, like acidic body composition. Again, not the blood pH, but when we talk about other organs, you will understand what, as a nutritionist, we mean about total body pH. The second organ is the kidneys, and kidneys have incredible capacity to either remove the acid from your body or retain by carb if you need it. Of course, when kidneys get sick, number one problem that I have as a nephrologist is actually, guys, I apologize, I'm going to mute you because there's so much extra sound. I'm going to just mute all of you. I'm sorry. And we're going to continue. So kidneys has incredible capacity. Is the moment you're too high on acid with the diet or with anything else, healthy kidneys will drop the urine pH and excrete the acid. So basically, you're going to pee out all of the excessive acid. And Urine pH normal is around, average is about 6, but it can go as low as 4.5, and it can go as high as 8. And kidney has incredible capacity to buffer either acid or alkaline. And then the rest of the organs do it too. Your saliva will change, depends on what you eat. And so when nutritionist talks to you about your pH, they're mostly probably relating to saliva pH and urine pH, because blood cannot be changed. When your pH is 7.0, think about it, only 0.35 down. I don't know if you're going to survive. This is severe infection or heart failure. This is total body malfunction. This is when your pH drops. If you're breathing, walking, talking to me, your pH is between 7.35 to 7.45. But the rest of the organs collectively work together and can adjust their pH to maintain this blood pH. So what does the organs do? All of your GI tract can alter their pH in order to excrete extra acid or buffer extra alkaline. Skin can do this. The sweat, when you sweat, you actually have incredible ability to excrete the acid. We talk about lung, we talk about kidneys. So it's actually varies, right? 6.8 to 7.5. But fluctuation from these numbers is also absolutely not good for you. For example, in oral cavity, if your pH is going to go below 7, pH of the saliva is go below 7, you will lose calcium from your enamel in your teeth. If the pH go above 7.5, close to 8, because you have too much alkaline in your body, you will have overgrowth of bacteria. The same happens everywhere. Stomach pH is very low. It's very acidic, so much acid, 1.5 to 2.0. But why? Why is it acidic? Because hydrochloric acid is absolutely must to digest protein. If you do not have this acidity, you cannot digest protein. And people with low acidity, if they start drinking carbonated water or alkaline water, what's going to happen? The stomach pH is going to increase, meaning it's going to go up to like 4 or 5. The commercial alkaline water pH is 8, pH is 9. And what is it going to do if you drink it before your meal? Number one, I'm going to show you what it's going to do. Okay, I'm going to show you like a little chemistry experiment. This is what I have here. And this is my bicarbonate. This is my baking soda. Now, this is actually, we're going to start with vinegar. So this is content of your stomach. This is very acidic stomach content. And now we're pouring bicarbonate. We're pouring baking soda. Okay, you can see baking soda. Okay, look what's going to happen. Okay, this happened first. You start to burp. You start to have a lot of bloating. Okay, and then what happened is you cannot digest protein, especially if you drink this alkaline water before meal. But we have other spectrum. Stomach pH can actually go lower than that. You can have 1 because you produce too much acid because you eat the rest of the food that is very acidic and your body trying to get rid of this extra acid. So you have a lot of stomach acidity. You can have H. pylori infection because it's thrive in super acidic environment. You can have ulcers, you can have gastritis. So other end is not good. All we have to do is the balance. Moving down to small intestines. Small intestines also digest the food. If you already did not digest this protein with your hydrochloric acid because your pH of the stomach was too high, now the food is moving in the small intestine. The pancreatic juices are actually very alkaline. And you're supposed to have a lot of acidity in the stomach. You start digesting the protein, then it's moving to the small intestine. And here in duodenum, you see how pH it jumps to 8 from, we just were at 2 and now it's 8, is because of the pancreatic juices. And now, if you already mess it up here, then it's going to be messed up here, alkaline and alkaline. If small intestine pH goes above 7.5, this is when it's coming even more alkaline into colon. And then you have overgrowth of candida, very harmful to your body. And so when we talk about alkaline or acidotic food, this is the total effect of the food that food produced in the body. So it's not going to change your pH, but it's going to do something to all of your system and adjust the buffering system. So buffering system, we talked about GI, we talked about lungs, we talked about kidneys. We haven't talked about bones yet. Bones is a phenomenal buffering system. If you ever did experiment when you took a vinegar and then you put an egg overnight in the vinegar, you've seen that the egg actually after 12 hours in the vinegar, it's become like a rubber, because all calcium, all magnesium, all phosphorus, all that forms that hard shell of the egg, it's now leached inside of the vinegar because nature tried to go to balance. So you put something in their acidic environment and nature tries to bring it to balance. So it leaches from the eggshell all of the minerals. And the same happening with the bones, because your urine cannot just produce pure acid and like you pee out acid. No, you're gonna burn yourself. You're gonna burn your kidneys. You're gonna, so it's you cannot do this the way. So smart nature come up with the idea that when you have this amount of acid, what we're gonna do, we're gonna take calcium, we're gonna take potassium, we're gonna take magnesium, we take manganese, we're gonna take phosphorus. We're all gonna bind it together, and then we're gonna create this electrolytes, and then you're gonna pee it out. So this is how, and where is most of this calcium? Where is most of this magnesium? And calcium and magnesium is inside of your bones. This is the biggest storage. That's why when people talking about acidic diet, they're actually talking about very high risk of osteoporosis. Because again, you remember you cannot change blood pH. So the rest of the body is protecting you from you, and it's protecting it by buffering it with different minerals from your bones. And when we talk about this chart and we're talking about acidity of the food, we're not talking about taking the food and measuring its acidity. We're talking about what effect has this food on your body in total. Did you gain alkaline or did you gain acid? And remember, when you gain acid, you lose all of these minerals. So if, for example, we test lemon, you see lemon is here, and lemon says is very alkaline. But if you take lemon and you put the strip, by the way, I have a strips to measure my water, to measure my urine, to measure my saliva. It's $9, it's 400 of them, and you can dip in whatever you want, and on the color, it's gonna tell you what it is. What is the acidity or alkalinity? So if I dip my strip into the lemon juice, acidity of the lemon is approximately 3 or 2 to 3. And so you would say, oh, but why is it alkaline food? It's very acidic food, and you would be right. But we're not talking about alkalinity or acidity of the special element. We're talking about the total effect on your body. And so when you consume lemon, when it absorbs into the blood, it's actually a very high in citrate. And citrate goes into your liver, and liver converts citrate to bicarbonate, which is bicarbonate is your alkali. And so the total effect of lemon on your body is actually going to be alkalinic and not acidotic. The same thing with pineapple. Pineapple is very, very acidic as the product, but when you consume it, the same with orange. When you consume it, total effect on the body is actually alkaline effect on the body. And I also want to show you something. If you try to research this alkalinity or acidity of the food, it's a total disaster. Nobody knows. And I show you these two charts. Okay, this is just, I just Google like alkalinity and acidity of the food. And I'm just, okay, pictures. And this is the first two, the most popular, over 1 million views, over 1 million like print out. And I want to show you example. So this is like high alkaline here, low alkaline here, and this is goes this way from most acidic to most alkaline. And if you look at even, let's say, hold on, sour cherries, rhubarb. Okay, so here it's very acidic, like most acidic, very acidic. And somewhere here, it's actually like way higher pH. And there's a lot of discrepancy in between these charts. Okay, the same was like tomatoes, right? Somewhere tomatoes is a very acidic chart. And then like here, tomatoes are like way better. And again, because people are actually confused, what are the meaning, either the meaning alkalinity or acidity of the product or the effect on the body. So it's almost impossible to figure out, is the food actually alkalinic or acidotic, and you can't measure it with it. So it's complicated, but it doesn't have to be complicated. We make it complicated. All of these charts come to conclusion that most of the fruits and vegetables are actually in alkaline thing. Most of the processed food is actually in acidotic thing. And the thing that produce a lot of free radicals is going to be very acidic things. And it's not only about food. When we talk about total effect on the body acidity, and remember, it's buffering and losing electrolytes and elements that are you needed. So we're not talking about pH of the bloodstream. I'm going to be repeating it again and again and again because this is the biggest confusion. So stress causes a lot of acidity. Lack of exercise causes a lot of acidity. But guess what? Too much exercise also causes acidity. If you Hugh Jackman getting ready for the movie X-Men and you want to be Wolverine, he spent 4 hours in the gym. He was training until he would start to vomit. And you know yourself, probably not a single time in your life when you went to the gym and then 24 to 48 hours later, muscles are sore, you're hurting. I've been to the gym to the point that I could not put my underwear next day. Everything in my muscle was hurting, like I couldn't move. And so why couldn't I move? Because when you overexert yourself, your body produces what? It produces lactic acid. And this sore muscle, this pain in the muscle, this is a lactic acid in your body. This is acid. Your body actually needs to convert it and pee it out and buffer with all of this. So I'm talking about balance. No exercise, you get too much acid. Too much exercise, you get too much acid. So lack of sleep. If you're not sleeping enough, this is create oxidative stress. And oxidative stress is the acid because you need to buffer these free radicals. And then toxins. Most of the toxins are actually really acidic on the body because, again, you need to bind them with something good from your body in order to excrete it from your body. And sometimes you bind it with the fat, sometimes you bind it with the minerals. But it's this binding ability of the body that needs to get rid of something. And too much alkaline or too much acid, both not good. When we talk about water, and why is this so popular now, alkaline water? By the way, it's like $8 for the bottle of water. But when we talk about water, and researchers actually studied what is good for us, and they come up with the guidelines, what should we drink to have like the best effect, and what is actually river water is, and what is the natural artisan water is. And the range of the drinking water should be between 6.5 and 8.5. But because we have so much toxins, most of the drinking water in the United States is actually 4.3 to 5.3. And yes, this is quite acidic. And yes, it's creating acidosis in your body. And yes, your body will have to buffer it with minerals. But we're talking about alkaline water, but with the same talking, orange juice has pH of 3.3. Black coffee has pH of 5. Stress causes acidosis. And you also, the baking soda, my favorite baking soda, the pH of baking soda is 8. So 1 teaspoon of baking soda per glass of water is going to create the same $8 bottle of alkaline water. You don't need like a super science to do it. Yes, commercial alkaline water, because you remember we talk about buffering and magnesium and calcium. Some water actually add these minerals too, meaning it's not just giving you alkalinity. It's not just about pH. It's about the balance of these minerals. But you can get all of this from the food. You don't need to drink alkaline water for this. So what is the proponents of the alkaline water is telling us, and why it's so popular, and why it's like why people are actually willing to pay $8 per bottle. First of all, teas. Okay, we eat acidic food, and you remember lemon is acidic. Lemon on your teas is acidic, but when it comes to the bloodstream, then it's become alkaline. Coffee is very acidic. Orange juice is very acidic. Coke is a disaster. Soft drinks is a disaster. Carbonated drinks, you think they're going to be alkaline. No, but the process of carbonation remove the minerals. So the total effect is going to be acidic. So carbonated drinks are not good for you. And it's artificially carbonated drinks, because when you carbonate it artificially, it's remove a lot of electrolytes from the water. But if it's natural spring with fizzled water, then it's completely different, because it's rich with the mineral too. So if you go to any dentist will tell you that acidic environment in your mouth is a disaster. Every dentist will tell you, if you eat pineapple, if you eat lemons, if you eat orange, go and rinse your mouth after this, because this, you lose calcium from your teeth. So the proponent of alkaline water says, okay, well, drink alkaline water. This is going to neutralize your acid. Your teeth are going to be awesome. No caries, no dental cavities. And it makes sense. It makes sense. Except when your pH goes above 8, the candida grows in your mouth. The candida that is in our body, and we need it. We should not get rid of it, but it should be in balance. And when you ruin this balance, this is when all of these oral ulcers and coating of your tongue begins, and even bad odor can be from very alkaline environment in your mouth. You need balance. Osteoporosis, we'll a little bit talk about the bones already and how bones buffer. So alkaline, proponents of the alkaline water says, okay, people, drink our alkaline water and you're not going to have osteoporosis. There's multiple studies been done on this. None of them showed any benefit of alkaline water and reversing or even preventing osteoporosis. And again, maybe some alkaline water, which actually has all of this buffering minerals, it possibly maybe can do it. But most of the water, which is just the water about pH, or even like this ionization process, it's just physiologically cannot do it. Proponents of alkaline water say alkalinity in the body kills the cancer. And yes, there is some truth to this, but proponents of keto diet say the same thing. And keto diet creates acidosis in your body, and cancer does not survive in acidosis either. Cancers do not survive in alkalosis or acidosis. Cancer cells are very young, they're very immature, they're dividing, they need all of this perfect environment which sugar creates. And If you create alkaline environment or you create acidotic environment, basically any stress to this cancer cell, they die. But you need to create a stress to kill them. But stress is actually the thing that created them in the first place. And if you don't have a stress, if you have a perfect environment, your immune system works better. So your immune system can kill them instead of you trying to altering your pH. GERD, let's talk about GERD. GERD, I think this is probably the only one that is truly works. Like if you have reflux, if you have ulcers, alkaline water does help, because your GERD is because you have too much acidity in the stomach. And by adding your bicarbonate to the stomach, you lower the acidity, and the stomach lining can heal. The same thing Nexium does. It's lower the acidity of the stomach and stop production of the acid. But the question is, why is your stomach pH is so high in the first place that is causing you this? So as a temporary fix, yes, you can take alkaline water to heal your stomach lining. But remember that the stomach acidity is for digestion of the protein. So it's kind of like I'm fixing one thing, but I'm kind of like hurting everything down the stream from my stomach. A little bit complicated question. And then the kidneys. Kidneys, I can talk to you for hours, but I can tell you when you go to chronic kidney disease, stage 2, stage 3 is okay. Everything beyond stage 3 is kidney lose the capacity to get rid of the excessive acid. And this is when I do this, okay? This is when I do this. I do bicarbonate. I give people a lot of bicarbonate. And number one side effect that people come back to me and complain is what? Is the experiment that we did before. By the way, it's still having the bubbles. You see the bubbles? It's still fizzling. So number one side effect of people drinking bicarbonate water is belching, is bloating, because you create this fizzle effect. I do have other, like I prescribe people citrate. Remember we talk about lemons and how lemon is acidic, but then it goes to the bloodstream and in the liver being converted to bicarbonate. So I change diet of my patients. I ask them to drink lemon juice. I ask them to eat a lot of fruits and veggies. And a lot of the time, I can reverse this acidity with just adjusting diet. I can also reverse this acidity with breathing exercise. And now a little bit about keto diet. So keto diet, I told you multiple times that I don't like keto diet, because when the kidney cannot handle all of this extra acid, and keto diet specifically creates acidic load and it creates acidic environment. So if you actually research keto diet nowadays, people changing their mind a little bit about this. There's actually keto alkali diet. And the problem with this is most of us, we have our own mindset and we have our own perception, and we actually hear only the part that we want to hear. You will hear the part that you want to hear from this lecture today. And it's all of us like this. And for a lot of people, when we talk about keto diet, when I talk about keto diet, they're like, oh, like I eat meat, I eat butter, I eat eggs, I eat cheese, I eat keto. Okay, this is the keto diet to most of the American people. And if you look back at our charts about acidosis and alkalosis in the food, this is a disaster, because that creates so much acidity that if you don't have a healthy kidneys, I know about it immediately. The rest of the body cannot compensate without the healthy kidneys. Patients come to me and they're like, I lost 20 pounds. And I open the labs. I'm like, oh my goodness, are you on a keto diet? And they're like, how do you know? I can see it. I can see it in your labs. I can see it in your lower calcium. I can see it in your chloride. I can see it in your bicarbonate. All of your electrolytes out of whack. Please stop it. But if you actually talk to people, successful keto people, okay, this is the chart, the best vegetables for keto. I can guarantee you that 95% of my patient who comes to me and tell me I'm on a keto diet, they don't eat any of this. Because this is their keto diet. But the keto diet is actually about this too. And this, if you look at all of the charts, nobody has confusion about this. All of this, well, except tomatoes. We're still a little bit confused about tomatoes. But all of this is very alkalotic. It creates alkalosis in the body. It's save all of these minerals. And now it's, even we talk about keto diet, we talk about paleo diet, we talk about alkaline diet. All of these diets, all of them, they actually agree on 3 things. Number 1, you feel better. You have more energy. You cure your disease. Any of this diet plays the same thing. Number 2 is processed food. None of this diet promote processed food. None of them. Keto diet says no processed food, okay? Paleo diet says no processed food. Alkaline diet says fruits and veggies, periods. The way the nature created, try not to cook them. And then the last thing is added sugars. And added sugars, this is all of it. This is soft drinks. This is your coffee with the sugar. This is artificial sweeteners. This is honey. None of those diets says, oh, you can eat honey. They all actually says no added sugars. And my personal opinion, I've formed over the years in practice and seeing people going this different diet. And I'm the person who experiment with myself. I've been on all of this diet. I've been on keto. I've been on paleo. I've been on vegetarian. I've been vegan. Okay? Vegan consider very alkaline diet, right? Okay. And the balance is the key. Balance is the key. And there is multiple studies that show good and bad. So research is very inconcise and it's very person dependent. And there is, I just put this one little study you can read about this. This is about the study on the rats, but it's about alkaline water. And for the whole year, they gave rats alkaline water. And you know what happened in the end of the year? They were sick. They were almost bald. The female rats end up losing ability to reproduce. And they had a lot of fungal disease. So purely alkaline diet is also not good. And if you here with me, this is not the first lecture. I keep promoting balance and I keep promoting learning yourself and finding about yourself. So I want to one more time address the issue if I recommend alkaline water. So my final words, alkaline water is not good and not bad, and it's not a panacea, and it's not going to cure all of your disease. Whole body is smarter and better than just one thing. We're all looking for this magic pill that is going to fix all. And alkaline water is not it. And I don't believe this one magic pill exists. It's a combination of this fine balance. And you, specifically you. So if you have GERD, if you have a chronic kidney disease, yes, alkaline water might help you. Would I drink it before meals or like start my day with that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, because remember, lowering the acidity in your stomach, you completely shut down ability to digest protein. So if I would ever recommend to someone alkaline water, it would be definitely 2 hours after meals when you already had your hydrochloric acid coat all of your protein and digestion of protein started. And I would recommend it before going to bed, before going to sleep, but definitely not to start your day, and definitely not to drink alkaline water before the meals. Also, always listen to your body. Your body is very smart and is trying to communicate with you. Unfortunately, like, we don't hear it. I run my weight loss clinic, and I ask my clients to track, like, one of the first thing we do, like first week, I'm like, okay, you're gonna send me the pictures of all of your food, and you're also gonna tell me what did you feel when you sit down to eat. Were you hungry? Like, okay, and this time I'm hungry. I'm like, okay, what does hungry mean? What do you feel by hungry? And this is the most complicated things, and this is what I do in my weight loss clinic. I teach you to listen to your body. Hungry, to me, hungry means my stomach is growling. Yeah, I do have a little bit of GERD when I'm hungry. My headaches sometimes are hurting. I'm hypersalivating. Okay, this is sometimes my hands shake. Okay, this is me hungry. And people are different, and like, to you, the body is going to communicate differently. And because we don't listen to our body, then we don't know what to do. Then we jump on, oh, next miracle, alkaline water. Next miracle, keto diet. Next miracle, Atkins diet. What is the next miracle? Bypass, gastric bypass, sleep. Listen to your body. Remember, it's all about the balance. You can't balance the lack of sleep and acidity because of the lack of sleep with alkaline water. You can't balance absence of the fruits and veggies in your diet with alkaline water. You can't balance high stress level and inefficient breathing with alkaline water. And inefficient breathing, I listen every time to my patients in the clinic, and this is what I see. I'm going to show you. I ask, take a deep breath. 90% of the people. This is how people breathe when I tell them to take a deep breath. And this is just the upper parts of the lungs. They're so inefficient. Most of our lungs are here in between your ribs, and people don't breathe with their ribs. And if you're breathing inefficiently, or if you're breathing through your mouth because you have sinusitis and you always clog, no amount of alkaline water will ever fix your lung inefficiency. You can't compensate for this. So again, systemic, holistic approach to the body, to your diet. You need a balance. You might need alkaline water in a certain situations, but think about, what is it doing? Why do you need it? Talk to your doctor about this. Sometimes it's indicated. It's very rare occasion, mostly if you have stomach issues or if you have kidney issues. Otherwise, I do recommend to test your water. You remember we talk about recommended drinking water between 6.5 and 7.5. So you can take your Ozarka, you can take the strip. Okay, the strip looks like this. It has these two little indicators, and you read the instruction. My instruction says hold for 15 seconds. Okay, so 15 seconds. And after 15 seconds, you pull it up and you compare the measurement and numbers. By the way, this is not Ozarka. It's a bottle from Ozarka, but it's a water from my sink, from my faucet. Okay, so here we go. Then I compare it to this, and I compare my numbers. And here we go. This water is about 5.5. You see it? So it is an acidic water. Okay. Is it good for your skin? Yes. Skin need a little bit of acidity. So it's an awesome water for shower. It's not a good water for drinking. Okay. And you can test any bottle of water and choose which water do you like, which water do you want. And again, this is not the problem. This can be easily fixed if I eat fruits and veggies and balance diet otherwise. This is not going to add too much damage. My kidney will be able to handle it. Okay, I can talk about this for hours and hours. I'm going to take any questions right now, and you guys, I'm going to bring you on the screen. I'm going to open chat. Okay, so no questions in the chat. So do you guys have any questions? You can unmute yourself right now. And you can also, if you can share your experience, what have you done in the past? I know we all like health gigs, so we like experiment with ourselves. So I would be very happy to hear your stories and your wisdom about this. Okay, anybody wants to talk? Anybody wants to write any comments or questions?
I did drink in the morning baking soda by the Vakin advice, but I did it just again half an hour before my meal. And what I did, if I will use like hot water, actually Vakin said about super hot water, and then latest I think science saying like, well, no, you don't need to do it, you just need to put in the warm water. So half of the teaspoon, glass of water in the morning. You're taking this before the meal, like 30 minutes. And I did it like again, maybe like for several weeks, and then I would stop it. I wasn't on that protocol consistently.
How did you feel?
I felt good. Yes, I didn't feel any big difference. I just did it because just because basically, just to, I think with age, with food, with so much again, not very healthy diet, sometimes it just what lets a couple weeks stay on alkaline drink. Yes, that's what I did. And by the way, for the stomach issue, I was going to tell you one thing, because my husband has a super problem with his stomach, high acidity, right? He used potato, just a fresh potato juice. I think it also has something to do with alkaline in the stomach as well, and it worked perfectly fine for him. I would suggest to everyone. So that's it.
Perfect. Anybody else? Thank you, Lana, for sharing. Very helpful, very useful.
Can you send the picture of the bottle for pH measurement? Water pH measurement.
Absolutely, I can send the bottle, but you can actually just go on Amazon and just check pH. There is so many of them. The only thing that when I look at them, because I'm testing my saliva periodically. So some of them are actually universal. They go as low as 1 and as high as 14. Okay. And you can measure your pool. So it's one of the things. You can measure your pool water. If you like brewing any beer or wine, you can measure it. For me, it's important that between 5 to 8, it goes by 0.25, because a lot of them goes by 0.5 or even 1. And this is too crude of the estimation.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Anna?
Hello, everybody. In saliva versus urine, do you have, can you tell us a little bit more about it? You said you do in your saliva. My husband has those testing strips, and he says it's better to do urine. So
it depends. It depends what are you doing. Yes, I'm testing saliva because I actually have my whole life I had a lot of dental problems. So I have dental work, I'm my favorite patient for my dentist, because every 6 months I have something to drill in my teeth, and I start measuring my saliva because this is what I'm trying to fix. And I'm trying to maintain my saliva above 7, between 7 and 8. But absolutely, so urine is a little bit different. I don't like just the urine pH because it doesn't give me the whole information, but I love urinalysis when it tells you like your calcium level and your chloride level, because gives you absolutely perfect information what the kidneys are doing. And yes, because the kidneys are the biggest buffer, gives you more complete picture of like what is happening in overall body. Saliva is giving you more answer to what is happening with your food. And so you test saliva, you test 2 hours after meal, and you test it like 2-3 times per day. Basically, every time you eat, 2 hours after you finish your meal, you test your saliva, and it gives you faster response on specific, like how do you react to the specific meals. But urine, I prefer to test early morning urine, like the first urine in the morning. Gives you better information all overall body response. So overall body condition, urine is the best. Response to the food, saliva is better.
I have one more question.
Yes.
Do we have time for one more question?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, thanks for this clarification. So with our upcoming doctor annual visits coming, I need to schedule, but what I can ask a doctor to get any other analysis that's beyond the normal, panel, blood work, urine, or whatever they do, what else should we be asking the doctors to run the, some extra tests?
Mm-hmm. So definitely, I always ask everybody to do the urine at least yearly, and you want the complete urine analysis with all the pH, leukocytes, and everything. It's a lot of information in urine. And if you do basic metabolic profile, always look at your bicarbonate. Sometimes it's reported like bicarbonate, sometimes it's reported like CO2. It's supposed to be between 22 and 26. Okay, so any alteration from that, it means something is compensating for something. Either kidneys are trying to compensate and buffer electrolytes, or your lungs are trying to compensate. I actually diagnose, well, it's not a diagnosis, but it's a clue to my diagnosis on obstructive sleep apnea. Like I can tell by bicarbonate if people are not breathing. Okay, again, this is like a screening test. So if I see any abnormality, then I'm looking for other things. And one of the things is sleep apnea, which I'm apparently sleep study people loves me because I send them so many people for sleep apnea testing, And then I also always check your calcium, always check your magnesium and phosphorus. And magnesium and phosphorus, this is not a routine thing. So it's not, it's included in renal function panel, but it's not including like on BMP and CMP, and magnesium is not included anywhere. Magnesium is always like its own electrolyte. And because magnesium is amazing buffer for the acid, and there's been a statistic that 70% people who actually admitted to ICU is magnesium deficient, and 70% of people admitted to ICU is magnesium deficient. And then about 50% of the people on the blood test, like a general blood test, 50% of the people magnesium deficient. And I can tell you, blood test for magnesium is not an accurate test. If you magnesium deficient on your blood test, it means like your bones are depleted of magnesium completely. And this is the microelement that comes from seeds and nuts. And American diet is not full of seeds and nuts, and balanced diet is utmost. But if you do have magnesium deficiency, I would totally jump on magnesium supplements and more alkalinity in the body. So magnesium will tell you if you actually, because with acidosis, you're gonna waste magnesium dramatically.
Sana,
Yes.
one more thing. Question to you, and actually this is what I also did in past and sometimes also. Look, in order to change your pH level in your mouth, right? Can you can you just rinse your mouth with the baking soda and sometimes actually with the salt? Will it improve your pH level if you are worried about
this is absolutely what I'm doing right now. So I am testing my pH 2 hours after the meal, and if my pH is below 7, I'm gonna rinse it with baking soda. And baking soda pH is about 8. And remember, you don't want to go above 8. So 8 is the highest, because if you go above 8, then you start develop this candidal stuff. And some alkaline water, they promote pH of 9, pH of 10. And to me, you know, like bleach is pH like 13, 14. Okay. So like, it's kind of like, to me, it's getting closer to this caustic things. Okay. Yes.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, that was wonderful. Thank you very, very much for your time and for your knowledge, for your willingness to share. That was amazing.
Yes, Oksana, thank you very much. Yeah, and you're right, you need to listen to your body. My body telling me every time. Yeah, like one period of my life, I'm eating like sour fruit, only green sour fruit, because my body needs it. Another period of time, I'm like eating only like sweet fruits. Probably my body telling me what to eat. And sometimes I'm like feeling I need to like splash my mouth after food. Sometimes it's okay.
Okay. Anna, last question.
Last question. Speaking of oral health, so I 3 times a week for sure dip my toothpaste in the baking soda and just brush it with extra. I feel like I want extra clean. And is it too much, you think?
So from abrasiveness of baking soda, I'm not going to comment because I'm not a dentist. Okay. But from pH, remember that this is 8. We want the highest we want is 8. And then if we just tested our water, which is like 5.5, if you rinse after your baking soda with sink water 5.5, it's actually going to neutralize it to the good level. So I think it's a good practice. I don't think it's any different from me just like rinsing my mouth with like I do teaspoon of baking soda per glass of water and just like rinse it. And so, but from effect of enamel, and you know, some dentists say like you can scratch your enamel, but I don't comment on this. I don't know answer to this question. I would discuss it with your dentist.
Ask, it's the oral dental health, as if like if I'm messing up the pH, because it still reacts with water, right? And the chemical of the toothpaste.
Again, I have a dental problem all my life, so I'm trying to work on higher pH, but then watch your mouth. If you're gonna start to have this white coating on your tongue, if you're gonna start like sometimes it's almost like too much skin sloughing from your inside of your mouth, you know, this is then pH is too high. Too high means too alkalotic. You remember acidic means low pH. Right.
Okay, thank you.
Again, listen to your body. Learn to read the signs. The body is always trying to communicate. And, you know, if it's lacking some ingredients or some microelements, like first you gain weight or you lose weight, because some people are actually wasting weight. Okay. It doesn't work. Then it's like, oh, like we're going to give you a headache. Oh, you're not still listening to that. Let me give you an eczema. See, let me give you pimples. Okay. So body is trying to communicate. Body always strive for the balance and for the perfection, and we can help it instead of harming it. And instead of like going with this commercial and saying, oh, alkaline water is the new panacea for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you, Oksanchka. Thank you.
Okay, guys, have a good day. Stay healthy. Best yourself. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks. Bye.